This podcast is brought to you by Meteorate.
Welcome to the Two Cripples, One Pair of Legs podcast, where every fortnight, your hosts, Adam Shepherd and Tash Price, take a long, hard look at the world through the eyes of two people who believe in grabbing life by the balls and squeezing tighter than Borat in a mankini. The good, the bad, the often cringeworthy, but most importantly, the hilarity that can, and often does, ensue. If you're looking for fluffy sunshine and rainbows, My Little Pony meets Care Bears type of purity, you've probably come to the wrong place. If you're after good conversation, warped humour, quick wit, a touch of sarcasm, two proud people with disabilities with the no holes barred, leave no stump unturned outlook on life, welcome home.
Hello there.
Greetings, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How you doing?
Oh, I can't complain.
Another week, another podcast.
I know.
It's come around so quickly.
Yeah, I know. It time flies when you're having fun.
Or you're not having fun and you're just stressed to hell.
Well, yeah, there's that too, but you know.
It's been a mix of fabulous highs and a few really frustrating lows this week, but it's been a good one.
It's been good.
Overall.
Yeah. Brisbane Marathon on the weekend.
Oh, Brisbane Marathon, hey.
Yeah.
Well, we will talk about that a lot later.
We will.
But 42 Ks on those hills. Oh my God.
Yeah, 10 was enough for me.
I don't know what makes me feel like I want to do shit like that to myself and punish myself in that way, but there you go.
A little bit insane. Just gonna say, a little bit
insane.
Yes.
Or a lot insane.
Okay, a lot. I was trying to be nice.
I think you've got to be a certain kind of crazy to want to do that to yourself. That's for sure. Yeah. Definitely the toughest thing I've ever done on a marathon circuit. But there you go.
The amount of times I heard somebody say, "I'm questioning my life choices right now" over that period of time.
Yeah, I think the able-bodied athletes felt as worn out as the para athletes at the end of that, but hell, it was fun.
Oh, it was. It's such a great event, and they do such a good job at putting those events on. Our friends at Atlas. They do. Yeah. They do. They're fantastic.
Anyway, we will talk a bit more about that.
Yeah,
later.
we're rabbiting on, and we should.
Because that's what we do.
We do.
That is how last week's episode was an hour and 16 minutes long, and it was just us two.
And we didn't even have a guest in the studio.
I know. That was just us two talking shit to each other the whole time.
We talk a lot of shit.
We do talk a lot of shit.
We do. Should we get into it though?
Why not?
All right. Should I hit the button?
Yes, you should.
No, I'm going to hit the button. The water cooler. All right, so those of you, I'll lift the microphone up a little bit. So those of you that haven't watched us before, listened in before, the water cooler, and for our guest here,
hi Brett. By the way,
hello Brett.
Hi.
The water cooler is basically our interview section where we get seriously awesome people in and have a chat and
so today's seriously awesome person is Brett Scott. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, and some people refer to me as Brett D. Scott. But
they do.
But
Brett D. Scott.
You're going to ask a question now, aren't you?
Yes, I am. Are we allowed to know what the D stands for?
I can tell you it's not dickhead. That's number one.
I had a feeling.
Yes.
I had a feeling.
You can. My middle name is Daryl.
Okay.
But there's a reason why I use it. Most people, when they look at scholars or they look at educated people or authors, they have a middle initial. That wasn't the reason. The reason was I have two first names, so Brett and Scott.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people call me Scott. They forget about Brett. and funny enough, I don't actually mind because I like my surname. But I thought, maybe it's good to actually help people to remember my first name. And funny enough,
it's
because I've put Brett and then a D and then Scott, they actually remember.
There you go.
That works well.
That's
cool.
A really good idea. I like that. I like that. So anyway, let me tell the audience a little bit about Brett here.
Please do.
Because he's an awesome human, and we feel quite happy to have him here on the podcast with us today. So Brett D. Scott is a multi-award winning metaphysical mindset, subconscious mind reprogramming coach, mentor, best-selling author, TEDx talk and keynote speaker, who is known as the world's first late bloomer thought leader and the success alchemist. helping switched on people turn their bad habits and old behavior into personal success and freedom, however that looks for them.
That's it.
I like that as a bio.
Thank you.
Good explanation.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. It's a joy. You know, I think I might have said to you guys, I was like, when am I going to get an invite?
Yes.
When am I?
Here we are. Here we are.
We are here.
I'm grateful.
We had a bit of a false start last time, but unfortunately you weren't able to make the last booking. But hey, we actually just sat there and spoke shit for an hour, so it actually
we really
worked well.
did. Yeah, we did. We did.
Which was that last episode we were talking about last week. Anyway, Brett, we've known you for quite some time now, a couple of years, and it's you've done so much to help us. Like you have, you've inspired us and coached us through a few things, which has been wonderful. And we had a really good chat today about a couple of things. Thank you for that.
Welcome.
And you're such a giving person. And it really is a pleasure to actually be able to get you on this show, because we've obviously done some lives for you and an interview for you on your social media channels. Yep. So yes, it's fantastic.
Yes.
It's good news. All right. I think you probably need the questions, hey?
I was going to say, all right, yeah, well, can we? I'm going to drop this.
Would you like to put it on the table?
I can't reach the table. I'm too tall. Can you put it? Yeah. Can you reach it? Good job.
There we go.
How many cripples does it take to put an iPad on a table?
7. Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, so exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so question 1. So for starters, explain what a metaphysical, now I can't speak, mindset coach is.
Yeah. I think the way I actually phrase that question is, what the fuck is a metaphysical mindset coach? I love it, but what is it?
Do you know, that's why I actually use that. Because people go, what the
is
that?
Yeah.
I'm censoring out my F. But and look, what metaphysics is, it's actually the understanding of what's unseen or the inner world of us. So we might even call it the spiritual part of us. And then understanding how you can utilize that understanding of the spiritual, the inner part of you, and bring it out into your outside world. So metaphysics is that transformation of what's going on inside that a lot of us don't know, holding on to trauma, or perhaps there's things that are going on in your mind that are unconscious. And that's why the easiest way to put it is, I am an expert at helping people to look into their subconscious mind and figure out what is unconsciously operating. Sometimes consciously, but usually it's unconscious in their subconscious. And the job is to pull it out and to have a look at it and make a decision about what are we going to do with this. Is this holding me back, or is this actually helping me to get to where I want to go?
Because of course, if you're not aware of what the issues are for yourself, you can't do anything to change things. You're stuck in the same patterns of behavior and same problems. So you need that insight into your subconscious thoughts to be able to make change. And that's what we talk about a lot when we talk about unconscious bias. It's those things, those thoughts and feelings, those biases that people don't even know they have, and it's impossible for them to actually treat those thoughts and do something about their behaviors that are a consequence of it without actually being aware of them. So yes, I'm guessing that's the same kind of thing.
It is, yeah. And I said to you guys today at lunch that it's probably that even though I might have a different way of operating, we probably have a similar understanding about how to go through these changes, how to upgrade ourselves first, and then of course the people that we're actually working with. And you know, most people go through life. I was one of them. I'm sure you've probably been one of them at some particular time as well, where we're just operating. We're just thinking life is happening to us, and we're going through the motions, and hopefully we'll get some good stuff along the way. But actually, guess what? You are the creator. Yes. You actually can create what you want in your life. It might not magically appear like a packet of Tim Tams on an ad when you get a wish from a genie. I'm not eating sugar at the moment, so probably not a good metaphor. But that's kind of the point. It's you know, when it took me, and the reason I said in that bio that you read, the late bloomer thought leader, that was my original title. I've upgraded to the Success Alchemist.
Yes, love that.
I do love that.
And I'll tell you a quick, because I can talk like you guys. I'll tell
That's
you.
good.
Good thing.
That's why we have a podcast.
This may end up being a 3-hour podcast.
Oh, gosh. No, we'll keep it to 2 hours and 45.
Excellent.
So the reason that I went through the upgrade and to the name The Success Alchemist, which I'll explain. The Late Bloomer Thought Leader is great because it took me 43 years to finally crack the code and figure out, oh my gosh, first of all, oh my gosh, I can actually change.
Yeah.
I don't have to just accept what life has dealt me. And then, and so that made sense. Oh, it took me so long to figure it out because I always imagined being successful in my 20s and my 30s.
Yeah, and I think
like
most
a lot of
people
people
imagine that. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're, we're always sort of pushing towards whatever we think success is at that time.
Yeah.
My vision on it now is some people would go,
So different.
hang on, man, is that really success? Because my idea of success is actually quite simple and actually quite small. And most people, unless you've gone through it, like I know you guys have, they might look at it and go, oh, is that really success? And actually, yeah, it is. Actually, I better explain it now.
Yeah, go on. You've got to tell us.
Okay.
You've got to tell us what.
Here's my old definition of success, like a lot of people, is you got all the money and you got the house and the car and the family and blah, 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 whatever you want. That's all great, and that's actually still a part of the plan, but it's actually not the goal. It's actually not my idea of success. What my idea of success is now, because I've experienced it, are those moments when I can actually experience my growth, my internal growth. And I go, like I literally have these shivers go down my body and I feel amazing. It's like the most rewarding feeling because successes are the moments. They're not a goal. They're not the outcome. They're actually what do they say? Success is a journey. It's not the destination.
100%. So for me personally, I feel like success is happiness. It's whatever that end goal is for you, whether it's financial, whether it's emotional, whether it's a point in life that you want to have made certain achievements. I don't think any of that is actually important for me. It's just feeling happy in myself and happy with the choices I've made, and actually waking up each morning going, fuck yeah, this is what I dream of. And I almost feel that's exactly where we're at with what we're doing right now. I wake up every morning feeling joy, and I think that should be a goal for anyone. At the end of the day, yes, you can have all the money in the world, but you can be extremely unhappy at the same time. You can have all the achievements in the world, but actually still be craving for more. You can feel like you're successful in so many areas of your life, but if you don't feel happy with it, what's the point? What is the point? So I feel happiness, that should be the end goal for anyone, regardless of what those goals are.
Well, and look, you're talking to the right person here, because for me, happiness is, like, to me, that's freedom.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you feel absolute joy and feel positive about life, and there's actually a little secret I'm going to share with everyone. I'm going to give people,
secrets are good.
There is a secret tip that I'll give everyone, that I don't care who you are, what background you have, where you live. I guarantee this one little secret. That isn't so much a secret, but it's. But some people.
Well, you're about to let the cat out of the bag, so.
I will. Should I tell them now?
Yeah, go on. Let us in.
Let us in.
Here's the secret, right? When I think back to all, like, and you guys have known me for a while, so there's been a lot of success that I've had that is deemed success, like the awards and the different TED Talks and all sorts of stuff, which is great. But when I looked back at everything and thought, how did I do all of that? And here's the thing. Where did it change? Where it changed, I made a decision at the end of 2018 that every single day I was going to get up and I was going to write 10 things down in a journal of why I'm grateful. And it sounds so simple, sounds actually boring to some people probably, but I guarantee you that getting into the habit of doing that, it actually becomes a part of your routine. One. Two, it actually gets into your subconscious that we talked about at the start. And so it becomes an unconscious program, unconscious bias. And so you're biased towards feeling good about everything in your life, even when, and you know this probably better than most, Tash, when things go to shit.
Yeah.
I can say the word. Can't
Yeah,
I?
Absolutely.
exactly.
When things turn to
We have an explicit
we have an
language.
explicit rating. You can
Explicit
say
rating, you can
whatever
say
the hell
whatever
you
you
want.
good. Okay. Well, I won't go too far, but now that I have the free speech part. Okay. So, yeah, and Tash, I remember last year or the year before, there was a lot going on.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
if you don't have a practice or an ability to be grateful for the other things that are in your life,
100%.
you go in this you go in this downward spiral, and you start to beat yourself up. You start to think, oh, everyone and everything is against me.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not.
No.
Yeah.
And so just taking a moment, and it can be 3 minutes, 5 minutes. I spend a bit of time. I've probably got too many things on my list. It's more than 10. I'll tell you. Actually, this is how it worked. Yeah, I'm gonna elaborate. So the way it worked, I couldn't even think of 3 things that I was grateful for, which is really sad.
Yeah, that is sad.
Yeah.
Right? And I was thinking, oh my gosh, how can I only think of three
Yeah,
things?
Yeah.
The list got to 10.
Yeah.
And then it went to 15, 20, 30, 50.
Yeah, because the more you practice gratitude, the easier it becomes.
Yep.
Absolutely,
Yep.
because you switch your thinking, you switch your mindset from a position of negativity to positivity,
Yeah.
and that's what we talk about a lot of in our training.
Yep.
Is that you need to see the positives in the shit that you go through, because everybody has challenges,
Yeah.
everybody has
Yep.
forms of adversity in their life, but if you're unable to pick out the positives that are happening as a result of the shit you're going through, you'll never ever be able to get past it. You'll never be able to move on, and you'll be stuck in that place of negativity, and nobody wants to feel that. You don't want to wake up every day feeling like shit. So find the things you're grateful for.
Yep.
Find the shit, the happy times because of the things you've gone through, and that will actually lead to your ultimate happiness. Not don't focus on the bad stuff, focus on the good.
Yeah, and just as you're saying that, it reminds me there's one other key secret I'm going to give.
Go.
And this one, I guarantee you, add this one to it, and you've got a really nice cocktail. So you've got gratitude,
Excellent. Yeah.
and you've got changing your perspective.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because, like you said, we're all going to have negative moments or challenges or things that we think, why? Like you guys know today, I've got no Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
And
What were we saying? You're permanently disabled, so you're now part of the crew. Three crips today.
Just and perspective wise,
Yeah.
my disability is really not a major one to me, but in that moment, actually, I've got to tell you, in that moment at 5 a.m. when I looked at shouldn't be doing this anyway, looked at my phone, and because I was hoping that there would be like, oh, yeah, sorry.
Some miraculous recovery from it. Yeah.
Yes, we've made a mistake. No, thank you for sending through your ID. You are now permanently disabled.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I went on, a bit of a negative spiral.
Which is human to do that.
100%.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, oh my gosh, I've spent years, decades, over a decade, and maybe let's say the last 5 years especially, prolifically every day, as you guys know, putting posts,
Posting,
videos,
absolutely.
you name it.
And it's the way most people build their businesses these days. Social media content is everything. So it can be very, very difficult once that avenue is taken away from you.
Yeah.
So how have you dealt with that challenge?
Yeah, so this is a good thing, right? I've got something to actually share on
Excellent.
perspective.
Yes.
So, yes, I allowed myself to feel crap for the first bit and went through, looking at all the different answers to how you can actually overturn this ruling.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really getting anywhere, to be honest. I found a few things. I was, oh, God, that's going to take me time.
Yeah.
I'll get to it. I went to the gym. First thing, I went, right. And I didn't feel like going to the gym. I really did not feel like doing it. But I went, you know what, I've got to go. I went there. I didn't give a great performance. But one of my coaches said, well, you turned up. That's good.
Yeah.
And because I told them what was going on. So here's the perspective change. So I've increased, my dopamine.
Yep.
Absolutely. Got your
So
endorphins going.
My endorphins are rushing, so I'm feeling better. I get a coffee.
Yeah.
I'm feeling
feeling great.
I'm feeling great now. And so when I said, okay, what happens? Worst case scenario, say I never get Facebook and Instagram back. What can I do?
Yep.
Okay, well, what else have I got? I've got LinkedIn. I've got TikTok. I've just started going viral on TikTok.
Hey, good job. Good job. Love it.
Hey, good timing.
You're down with all the cool kids now.
Yeah, I'm 18. And so I'm not really 18, just add 30 years. So Yeah, so I've got TikTok, I've got LinkedIn. Oh, I haven't got Twitter. Maybe I'll open up a Twitter account. Maybe Elon will support me. And by the way, just to be clear, I did nothing. Like there's absolutely nothing that I can think of other than maybe making a comment about in the past I used to refer to myself as the gayest straight guy going around. And not to put anyone down other than myself in saying that, you know, I'm not gay, but I wear all these bright colours.
Flamboyant clothes.
But I appreciate it, and I appreciate how gay men can dress.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
wasn't actually putting anyone, even myself, down. Really, it was just that it can be confusing to some people because they think, oh, is Brett gay? No, he's not. He just dresses like one. And the reason for that post, as I know you guys have read, was more about being a peacock and letting people look at the clothing.
Yeah.
Rather than really seeing who I am. Please don't ask me any questions. That's not what I was. That's not what I was literally saying. But internally, I'm thinking I don't want anyone to ask me anything. So they can just
let them
appreciate.
So it almost becomes a bit of a barrier to
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So.
Anyway, so Facebook has that, and it's but so you've got to kind of change your thinking and your perspective on things when a challenge like this comes upon you and you have no idea it's going to happen.
so that's just one example, but you can use it in anything. So anything that you're thinking is not working or it's stuffed or it's broken or you know, again, why did this happen to me? You go, first of all, you go, well, why is this happening for me? That's the perspective shift, right? Yeah. Why is this happening for me? There must be a reason why. Depending on your beliefs, you might believe in God or you might have a religious belief and you say, well, obviously, you know, God is not going to do this to me to hurt me. There's obviously something for me to learn from. What can I learn from it? What I thought was maybe the second time I got kicked off a couple of years ago, maybe I should have asked them, can I please find out exactly what it is you're bidding me off for once they reinstated me?
Yeah, so that I don't do it again.
So that was my thinking, okay, well, maybe I'm a bit late for that. But the idea on perspective is to, okay, there's a way you're looking at things right now, but how can I actually change the way I'm looking at it? Because we live in this world of duality. There's a universal law of polarity. I don't know who came up with the universal laws, but apparently there's about 11. And there's sub laws to that as well, because one of them's law of vibration and law of attraction comes under law of vibration. Oh, you know that. That's good.
That's about the only one I do know, but there you go.
So, I mean, the law of attraction, I'm going to go on a tangent if I go there. So the universal law of polarity, it dictates that everything has an exact and equal opposite.
Yes.
And I love that fact because one, it's simple. And two, you know, I don't have to think too hard. Okay, well, if this is not working, well, how can I get this to work? So
you do the opposite.
Yeah. And so
it's also another thing that we talk about a lot in our training. We say everything has an equal and opposite reaction. So if you're feeling some kind of negativity around something, find the positive that's the exact opposite and focus it on that, not the negative side of things, because negative emotions, they're only ever going to bring you down and bring the people around you down, and who wants that?
No, and added to that, Tash, here's one other part to that, which is most people, when they think, well, I'm feeling crap or I'm feeling depressed or I'm feeling whatever the negative emotion is, I understand that you're telling me to go and focus on the positive, but how can I when I'm feeling this way? Here's another little secret. I love this one because it works. So most people think, well, if I'm feeling this way and I say to myself, oh, I'm feeling good and positive, I'm looking at all the positive, but I'm not feeling positive. Well, guess what? The universe or whatever you believe in, it doesn't know, it's not going, is this true or not? The only thing the universe or God or source or whatever you believe in is paying attention to is how you feel. So the more you focus your attention on this thing that you want to be feeling and you start to think about it, you're putting your attention on it, maybe hopefully starting to feel a little, remember the time? I usually ask myself questions. Remember that time when you won that award, or remember that time when your son was born, or remember that time, whatever it is. And then you start to think about some of those positive things and then you can put your attention on that. And then, like you just said, you start to attract it. But
I was going to say
that can be attraction.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Love that. Good advice coming over
It's
here from
great.
Brett. I know.
Absolutely.
We're not, for once, we're not actually having to do a huge amount of the talking. It's
sitting-
great.
I'm just going to sit here and shut up and
So
listen.
we're getting a free coaching session here.
This
It's all
is
good.
brilliant. It's funny. You started off by mentioning a little bit, at the beginning, you were talking about, when you have that moment that really makes you think about, what's, and for me, like we refer to it we call it the holy shit moment, where you have that moment,
that catalyst for
that
change.
catalyst where you have that catalyst for change. So for me, it was my health, and it was
for me, similar.
It was
similar
for you,
also my
so
health. Yes. So what was that exact holy shit moment for you? What was that catalyst?
Yeah. So, without that catalyst, I wouldn't be here today.
Yeah, exactly.
And let me before I tell you what my catalyst was, let me tell you, if I had a choice in that catalyst, I would have said no, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I did. I'm sure say no, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's the case for everyone that has that. Quite often you find people that are successful have had something that's very challenging, very full of adversity, which has actually led them to the amazing path they're now on. And there is generally always that catalyst. And if you think about it, if you knew that was going to happen to you prior to it happening, you'd say no, fuck off, that's not what I want.
Yeah.
So tell us about yours.
August of 2014. Actually, before I tell you the August of 2014 catalyst, there's I don't know, it's an analogy. It's called the feather, the rock, and the bus. Have you heard it?
I've heard it. Don't know what it is.
Okay. I've heard of it, but not sure.
So imagine in life, let's say again, we believe in God, and God can't talk to you through the phone, or or you can't you don't have telepathy that you can use at this point. And so God has to find ways to tell you when you're on track or off track. And he sees that you're off track and he's brushing you with the feather. Hey, Tash, come on. You're going the wrong way. And you're like, what is that? Oh, no, everything's okay. I'm going to keep going.
Yeah.
Then, because you didn't listen, you get hit. Get hit with a rock.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, what's going on here? And you go, oh, maybe I need to pay attention to this.
Mm-hmm.
But then your thoughts kick in and things get busy.
Life
and
gets in the way and you just carry
yeah,
on.
I know I need to pay attention to it, but I'll get back to it.
Yeah.
But you don't get back to it. Mm-hmm. And so then, August of 2014, I received my bus on top of me, and the bus
just get hit by a bus.
Yeah, you get hit by a bus because you're not doing the thing you said you were. Oh yeah, I need to pay attention to that.
Yeah.
I knew I had to pay attention to the thing that happened to me. So what happened was I received a phone call from my work. I was working for one of Australia's #1 fitness business coaching company called Trainer HQ.
Yeah.
Shout out to them, Brad and Jason. They're legends, still good friends. And their admin manager rang me and said, "Hey Brett, we've got a problem. Your invoicing is out." Now, my invoicing, without giving you the long story, my invoicing was out $60,000, $60,000 over 18 months. And it wasn't a purposeful thing, but it was definitely a negligent thing. Not paying attention and just, because all I was focused on was bringing in the sales. I was a sales manager. And I was a contractor as well. So it wasn't like an employee where I just, punch my card. I had to give them the invoicing. Now, I always knew that money was I'm not a great person with managing the budgets and money and stuff, but I didn't do something about it. And so anyway, end up with this phone call. In that moment, because I thought we had just moved to our dream location. This is my wife and I were together at the time, now ex-wife. We had dreamed of this place. We had a vision board on our wall. It took us 3 years to finally get to our dream location in Noosa. We were super fit. We were doing all the fun runs and training twice a day and eating really healthy. We were the fittest we've ever been. In fact, that helped us to get pregnant. So she was 4 months pregnant at the time when I get this phone call. And in that instant of realizing that there is no way of me brushing it under the carpet, trying to figure out my way, that was what I used to do. I would have, and so this is why I say it was the straw that broke the camel's back, because there were things that had happened in the past that I'd managed to hide, or I'd managed to
bury your head in the sand about.
Yeah. So this time I know there's no escaping it. I got to go and tell my wife this terrible news.
Yeah.
And I know what she's going to say. Yeah. And in that instant, I was and by the way, I was 39 turning 40, and I'm thinking, I'm not a stupid person, but why do I keep making these stupid decisions? Because I've been a top-level real estate agent. I've had my own magazine publishing business. I've done so many things in my life, yet there were so many things I hadn't done properly. And one of the things, number one real estate agent in the whole of Victoria of Australia, and I didn't own a home.
Yeah.
Like, how is that possible?
Yeah.
Like, you make all this money, where did it go? You know? And so this is part of the budget part. I had a way of convincing my now ex-wife of talking her out of us purchasing multiple properties. We had deposits, all sorts of things, but somehow I'd talk her out of it. So, you know, in that instant, I'm thinking, you know, what a loser, you know, and I'm thinking about all the negatives as you do in that negative spiral. But very quickly, thankfully, the one thing that saved me was my positive attitude. In fact, my blood type is B positive, so
excellent.
You know, maybe that's
B
part
positive,
of it. I'm not sure. I donate a lot of it.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm up to number 82. Just donated.
Good job.
Good job.
That's awesome. You've not been able to because
because I'm English.
You're mad.
Oh no, mad cow.
Yeah, well
they've
just changed the rules, but so hopefully.
And I think I'm up to 30 something, but I haven't donated in probably a few years. So I used to be religious fortnightly because I'm a plasma donor.
Yeah, me too.
So fortnightly I was religious about it, and then a few health things, and couldn't for a while, and just never got back into it. But we're going to start. We are.
Yeah. So I've
you can now. Yeah.
Yeah. We were going to book it in for this week, weren't we? And then I was like, oh shit, hang on, I'm having a tattoo, so I've got to wait for. So I've just had the tattoo done, and
it used to be 6 months. You had to wait.
Yeah, so it's three months now. So we're going to book it in for as soon as I can.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We're going to call it professional development.
Yeah, exactly right.
I'll give you one tip. Do not do it after your marathon.
Yeah, I know. I'm waiting. That's the other thing. We're waiting the 3 months to get marathon season out of the way because I'm sure it won't be fun to do it. Anyway, sorry. Hydrated. Carry on with your story.
Okay. So negative spiral and being positive did save my life because literally the last thought I had before I started to cry for the first time as an adult, which is pretty sad and maybe typical of some men.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. The catalyst in that moment was I actually started to cry and I said to myself, I never want to be in this type of situation again. In fact, I never want to be this type of man again.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it was almost like maybe an electric bulb, but it was like a download moment. Yeah. And the download was, when I figure out how to fix myself, I should help other stupid men figure out how to fix their lives as well.
Other stupid
men. And it's not just stupid men, it's stupid women too.
It is. Yeah. The world's full of stupid people, sadly.
And just to be clear, because my mum used to give me a hard time for saying stupid, but and as I said about the post I did the other day, well, that's just what was in my head. Yeah. So I'm going to relay it as it was. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm
absolutely.
changing what I said.
And I don't think you mean stupid in a negative way. No. It's more like, I guess, ignorance and unaware and uneducated about something. Not necessarily like somebody's thick or stupid. It's just a phrase. Yeah. It's
just a phrase, and it's just, you know, when you recognize finally that you're continually making these type of decisions, you think, am I stupid?
Yeah. I think we all have those thoughts about ourselves at one point in our life. The little bitty shitty committee that gets into our thoughts.
Thank you, Annette and Lauren, for that.
Yes. From Audacious. It's that little devil that sits on your shoulder and convinces you lots of bad things about yourself. And I think everybody has those thoughts at some point in their lives. Yeah. So at that point you were feeling very negative about yourself and about your situation.
Well, in the initial moment, So being positive saved my life because, the last thought I had before I started to cry was I should actually take my life. Like I did consider getting some drugs and, and ending it. But thankfully, snapped out of it, started to cry, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I don't remember the last time I've cried, and it's certainly not
Crying
as an adult.
is a good thing.
Yeah.
It is.
And so, because I think the biggest thing was I knew my marriage was going to end in that moment, and I knew it was a good thing. Like, part of me knew it was a good thing.
Yeah.
But when you love someone deeply, it's a very hard thing to let go of.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
So yeah, the catalyst was, the idea for writing this book happened. Took me 8 years to get to it took me 4 years to get to the starting point, and then another 3.5 years. So what's that, 7.5 years to finally get the book out middle of last year.
Which book is this? I Fly or Supercharged Freedom?
Supercharged Freedom,
Yeah,
Your
okay.
Truth Will Set You Free.
Yeah.
So that was my second book, but it was meant to be my first book. So I Fly was written after I finished the first round of writing Supercharged Freedom.
Okay.
And there's a whole backstory to that because the reason it took me so long, we had a structural editor. I don't know if have you written books?
No,
I have,
You
but yeah.
I'd like to one day, but
I
don't know where to start.
I've been a co-author, so I'm still pushing for the whole doing my own book. I've got some idea of where I'm going with that, but yes.
So actually, I'll give you a quick little thing if I'm not taking us off course. Where are we? Oh, yep. If I'm not taking us too far off course.
Yeah, go ahead.
When I wrote my book, and this is good for you, Adam, I started to write it myself. And I wrote out about 3/4 of what I thought was, intended 12 chapters. I thought that sounds like a good number. So I wrote out 3/4 of that, and I read through it all, and because I wrote it fairly quickly, and I read through it all and thought, I don't want a life story. Like, I haven't even feel like I've really begun.
Yeah,
I don't want to write a life story, and who's going to read it. And so in that moment, I went, I think I need help, because I said to myself, is this a bestseller? And I'd made a decision. I wanted a New York Times, Amazon, Wall Street Journal best-selling book.
Awesome.
My book, just to be clear, the Supercharged Freedom one still isn't, but I Fly became a Silver Stevie Book of the Year.
Yeah.
And it also won a couple of other awards and got included in the Oscars gift bag, which was a reminder to me that my book will do it. And so my current book that I released is not finished. So it's the first part of it's done, which is getting it done. But the second part I'll get a publisher to take it on so that we can actually take it to become a New York Times bestseller.
Take it to the next level.
Yeah. So my friend Chris, I was mentioning to you today, he's actually got a book called Be the Giraffe. And he's got a group that are actually helping him to make that a New York Times bestseller. So
cool. Be the Giraffe, I like that.
Be the Giraffe.
That's awesome.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Where do we go?
Where do you go? I know you've just got completely. I'm like, you're the one that can see the questions.
I know. All right, so it's very apt that you're wearing your Superman shirt today.
Oh, yes, I did on purpose.
It's absolutely. So talk us through why Superman.
Why Superman? So my TEDx talk tells you the story if I don't relay it clearly to everyone. But so why Superman? From the age of 1, and maybe a bit younger, my mum tells me the story because I don't remember being 1. But she tells me that I used to nag her all the time to get a Superman costume. And she refused because I was a very adventurous child. Very
see where this is going.
To the point where there was one time, this is off track, but there was one time where my auntie was looking after me and she was doing something and I saw the door was open, so I went for a walk. I walked all the way, which might have been a kilometre or 2 down to the train station, got on the train as a 4-year-old, I think, 3 or 4-year-old.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Got on the train and then luckily someone, not someone who steals kids.
Yeah, well, that's lucky. Very lucky.
Yeah.
Someone who was thinking, hang on a minute, why is there a little toddler walking around without an adult? And so, and so they took me to the police station and thankfully my mum figured out to go to the police station and I was found. Anyway, so that's how adventurous I am and was.
Yes.
And so when
do you feel that trait is carried on through into adulthood for you?
Yes,
okay,
definitely. And maybe not as extreme because I've done extreme stuff. But as you get older, your extreme stuff because you become a bit more sensible.
And you do. You become a bit more aware of your mortality, I think, as you get older. But yeah.
And especially when you have children or, when you've got people around you that love you, you think, I better make sure I'm making the right decision.
Yeah.
Anyway, but Superman. So age of 1, I've got this fascination for Superman. Finally, at the age of 3, my mum buys me a Batman costume, thinking Batman doesn't fly, so we're fine. Because she was really, really concerned. She was really concerned that I was going to get up on the roof and jump off, thinking I could fly. Well, unfortunately, she was correct, because even in the Batman costume, I thought Batman can glide. Let me tell everyone who's listening, in case I've got any kids, Batman does not cannot glide.
Fletcher.
So yeah, Fletch, listen to your father, don't do it. Listen to Brett here, don't do it.
Don't do it.
I tried it, it doesn't work. And look, I'm sure there are ways it can work.
Yeah.
But let's just say for a 3-year-old, no, it doesn't work. So anyway, I landed in a rose bush. I didn't break anything, but Mum had to get out the Dettol and clean me up. So I think I learnt my lesson, but my fascination for Superman did not stop. And so throughout my years, there's been different things that I've done that are all Superman related without me telling you all of them, because you can go to my How to Unleash Your Inner Superhero. That's my TEDx talk name.
Excellent.
How to Unleash Your Inner Superhero.
That can also be seen on your website, can't it?
It can,
yeah. So the website address is up on screen now for anybody watching the Facebook Live.
Cool. Oh, I can't see it.
Yeah. It's funny that.
Magic.
But it's there. Check the
Here's
link
one
out.
we prepared earlier.
So yeah, Superman. And so all through life, I just thought it was a fascination with Superman. And no, here's the really interesting part, because when I first became the coach, when I first had my first couple of clients, one of my clients was a photographer, and we did a bartering arrangement. He didn't have the money, and I said, well, how about you do some photos and some other stuff? And he did. He did some videoing for me, and I think he helped me with one of my podcasts as well.
Yeah, awesome.
And so he said to me, hey, when you come for the photo shoot, why don't you bring something fun? Yeah. I'm thinking, okay, well, what do you mean fun? Sure, yeah, what's fun? And he's like, oh, I don't know, just anything fun. I was like, oh, okay. So I looked around my wardrobe.
Oh, the pressure.
Yeah. Now, not this T-shirt or this shirt, but I had, I've got, or I still have, a Superman compression shirt, and it's got all the abs.
Excellent.
I might have had abs back then, but anyway, these have got the fake abs on there, so that was helpful. And so I put that on, and I thought, oh, I've got my suit, of course. I could, and I've got the black rim glasses. So I did the Clark Kent turning into Superman pose, and I just thought that was fun.
I've seen that. If it's the photo I'm thinking, I've seen it, and it's a bloody brilliant photo too.
Yeah, and even though I had the photographer who was great, he didn't direct me how to do it. I just came up with the idea, or the download of the idea, and I thought, oh, this will be good, and I'll do the angle to make it look like I'm looking up to the sky, and it really worked. And it was one of those photos that went viral, and all of a sudden it hit me. I was like, oh, of course. And there's two parts to it. That's all right.
You die quieter, will you?
I will, sorry. Yes.
So what I recognized is, hey, when people talk about transformation, they think of a butterfly going from a caterpillar into the butterfly. Well, it's kind of like Clark Kent turning into Superman is that transformation, right? Yeah. And here I am doing that transformation. And I recognized in that moment that's what this was about. But here's the most important part, and the part I think you guys will really like. Because what it was really telling me, what does Superman stand for? Of course, it's a made-up fictional character, but what does he stand for? He stands for truth and justice. Yep. Now, why these two things are very interesting is I was not upholding either of those. Yet I loved the character of Superman. I wasn't being Superman. I was being mild-mannered Clark Kent. Hanging around in the background, trying to be nice to everyone. People pleaser.
So you needed to have that metamorphosis into
exactly.
That's really cool.
So Superman has always been with me, and I didn't realize, unconscious, to the fact that actually the reason Superman is with me, and he's with many people because he's well loved around the world. But the idea of Superman is he's kind, he's loving, he's doing everything for all the right reasons, and he stands for truth and justice. And now in what I've done over the last 4 years at least, I definitely feel like that is who I've become, my version of Superman.
That's awesome.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. It seems like a good character to build that whole persona on.
Absolutely,
Awesome.
absolutely. Are you dying?
No, I just got to calibrate. My pumps decided
Oh my God.
to say halfway through the show, calibrate, please.
So much trouble.
I had somebody comment on last night's Facebook, on last night's YouTube live premiere. Oh, Tasha managed to get through an episode without dying.
Oh, no.
That was my first one ever.
It's beginning to be a thing.
It is beginning to be a thing. There's always something diabetes related, isn't
Although
there?
you're not dying today.
I'm not dying. I'm just sorting my pump out so that I don't die.
So you don't. Yeah, it's a good thing.
Which is a positive. Anyway, continue on.
Excellent. So, what would be your proudest moment of being a coach and doing what you do?
I think my proudest moment is, because there's so many different people that have actually helped to, achieve different things, including myself.
Yeah.
But I think the proudest thing is when you know that you are actually upholding, you're being in integrity, you're upholding the person you always imagined you would love to be, that you maybe at times thought, I don't think I can be.
Yeah.
Knowing that you are that person and that being proud of yourself is really unusual.
It is.
Yeah.
It certainly takes a certain level of confidence and faith in yourself to get to that level. I think it's very admirable because I think so many people, it's just ingrained in society these days to put yourself down, and it seems like human nature to not believe in yourself and believe all the bad things about yourself rather than the good things, see the negativity constantly. So I think it's a very, very admirable quality.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, and so in that, like being proud of yourself, like it, going back to Superman, it's that being proud of how truthful I'm being, and am I perfect? No.
but you're authentic and that.
It's all about authenticity. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that.
So what's coming up in the life of Brett D. Scott?
So other than trying to figure out how I get back on social media, other than that, the main thing that I'm doing at the moment, which you guys might know a little bit of, maybe not the whole story, there's 3 components which are actually there'll be one world. And so I'm working with a company called Be Positivity, or the Positivity Co, funny enough.
Yeah.
And the main owner is Kim Serafini, who has Positive Prime, which is a software. It's a session you can create that actually puts your brain into a flow state of joy and happiness in less than 3 minutes.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, that's cool.
And here's the even better part. It lasts every day between 6 and 8 hours.
Hacking happiness. That's
Hacking
awesome.
Happiness.
Yeah.
Hacking happiness. Yeah.
So once she got University of Technology in Sydney has done the research and clinical studies and proven what she already knew and what I actually already knew because I've used it for this purpose. So it's the simplest way of putting it. It's like a gratitude and vision board on steroids.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear more about
That's
that.
really
That's
cool.
really
Yeah,
interesting.
absolutely.
Love
I can't believe I
love
haven't sent it to you already.
Yes, come on.
I know. So I'm working with her. So she decided once that study came out and it was proven, she went, great, okay, I'm not just dealing with a tool that some people might look at as woo-woo. I've actually got something that's scientifically backed.
Yep.
So
I love that.
now
I would need to check that out.
So now she's like, I need to get it out to more people. How can I do this? Well, one of her best friends that she went to university with, Bond University just down the road here, was a lady by the name of Deborah Reed. And Deborah Reed is the current executive producer of The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, The Bachelor in Paradise.
Yeah.
She's produced the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and OC. She's produced the Golden Globes, the Emmys, the Oscars, the
Big producer then.
Super Bowl halftime. She's done a lot, right?
Yep.
So we call her the Midas touch because whatever she touches turns to gold.
Turns to gold, yeah. Awesome.
So now Kim says, after 10 years of nagging her, by the way, says, hey, here's the idea for the TV show that you and I are going to do. She's like, okay, I'm ready to tell you that's not actually a good idea.
There's some blunt honesty for you.
Yeah, and and it sounds like a joke, but I'm not even joking. That's how Deborah would say it.
Yeah.
And so Kim says, this is the idea. We're going to create a show which is all about helping social enterprise entrepreneurs to grow and scale their mission, their business, to actually achieve more than they've ever thought possible. Via being a contestant on a show where they're in this incubator accelerator. Might have to see if we can get you on the show.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, please.
I just thought, hang on a minute. I haven't even, only just put 2 and 2 together as I'm telling you the story.
I'm like, hello.
Yeah, hello. Not that we will, but I'll get you in for,
Excellent.
Anyway, so the idea was, how about we help these social entrepreneurs to be better at what they're doing, which is, changing the world or doing better things for communities and groups around the world. And so how about we support them, and we get change leaders and guiding lights, and what they are. Guiding lights are people who have got a social enterprise and done extremely well, and so they can teach, this is what we went through.
Yep.
Change leaders are people who are specific experts in different fields. And so in business, as we all know, there are many areas of business. Some we enjoy, some we think, why on earth do I have to do this?
Exactly.
Who can I hire?
Yes.
And so we have all these different experts come in that are change leaders who will give them the experience. And so it's going to be, let's consider almost like a Shark Tank meets Big Brother meets Survivor meets The Apprentice, but with Shark Tank, instead of sharks, think dolphins, because dolphins are playful and they're...
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a bit nicer.
Yeah. It's all about empowering. So it doesn't mean there won't be anything negative in the show, but if there is negative, it's about how do we actually move through this.
How do you embrace that and overcome it? Yeah. I love that. What a fantastic idea.
Thank you.
That's really awesome.
Really,
it's not my idea, but hey.
It's,
and this
what
is
a
the
cool thing to be part of. Yeah.
Thank you. And this is the thing, right? Kim's been a friend of mine for quite some time.
Yeah.
I've got her into all the things I do and vice versa. And she said to me, Brett, because I have a lot of contacts, as you guys know, in different countries that are doing incredible things. And she said, hey, I really want you to do this with me full time. And she caught me at the right time, because I was trying to scale my business, my group coaching part of my business. Just wasn't working. I pumping all this money into, figuring out how we can actually do it. And I had a CEO with me. It wasn't working. And so I said, either I'm going to continue and find a way, which I'm sure I would have, or maybe I actually help Kim, because I actually really love the idea that she's got. And so that's what I'm doing. I've been doing it for the last 6 months.
I love that.
That's awesome.
Big things ahead then.
Oh, it's huge. Like, it's really huge. So we've got a TV series. We've got, Positive Prime, which is an incredible app, is actually going to be a part of Be Positivity, the app. And Be Positivity will have Positive Prime. It'll have the TV series. It'll have a marketplace, which is all positive. No, whatever's in there, probably. And it'll be promoting the people who are in the show, and we'll be promoting our World Change Forum. So every year we're going to have a World Change Forum, which is kind of the platform for people around the world who are already change makers, already doing incredible things. Maybe people who are great at doing TED Talks on particular topics that are going to be helpful. So it's almost like maybe not a festival is the right word, but it's certainly an engaging platform that people can come and collaborate, and maybe there's VC people there who can help with, and what do you call them? I was going to say philosophers, philanthropists.
Philosophers might help too.
They might help too. Yeah.
And actually, I was talking to a doctor of philosophy yesterday, so maybe that's why my mind is there.
Interesting conversation, I'm sure.
Yeah. So anyway, there's 3 components to what we're doing, but essentially the ecosystem is Be Positivity, and so that is the engine that is sort of running everything.
Awesome.
Yeah. That's really cool.
So you've told us about 2 things that you've been, what was the third? Because you said there were 3.
So we've got, Be Positivity is the app, which is our ecosystem. Then we've got the TV series. I didn't tell you what it's called. It's called The Change Maker.
Oh, I love it.
Great.
I love it. Yeah, that's great. Awesome.
And so there's going to be a prize. So it's 10 to 12 contestants who are social entrepreneurs, already have runs on the board like you guys, and have and actually want to grow and scale.
Yeah, I love it.
And they go through all these different things in this incubator accelerator. There'll be like a mansion or a house here on the Gold Coast.
Oh, see.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know. Hey,
Awesome.
everything's adding up, isn't
Awesome.
it? And so it's going to be kind of an environment where they have the ability to figure out learn some new things, try new things. There's going to be some fun stuff.
I
included.
absolutely love that idea.
I do as well.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Yeah,
It's brilliant.
There needs to be more stuff like that available, and I just think the whole concept is fantastic. Yeah.
All right, one more sort of. They're all serious questions, but one more here. You mentioned before about your TEDx.
Yep.
We loved it. We thought it was great. Talk to us about that experience about doing your TEDx and preparing for that and how that.
So, good question. So, I actually pre-recorded it. How many takes? Maybe a dozen takes. So thankfully, I wasn't actually in front of a stage of people. I had, my script, and so I was running through my script that was in a, what do you call them?
Teleprompter.
Teleprompter. Yeah. So it was good, and actually I'm going to share this. So on the day of release, I don't know if you guys remember, when it came out, I noticed, because I went onto YouTube, because that's where the video format was, and I typed in the name and it brought up 2 videos. And I was like, oh, this one's live. I was like, oh, why is my thing live? And it said TED something, and I thought, oh, maybe TEDx have actually picked it up as, one of the, top new TED Talks for the week, and we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, wow, this is amazing. So I clicked on it. No. This is a person who decides it must be his, I don't know, thing he does on YouTube where he basically rips to shreds TED Talks.
Yeah.
And
this is actually the whole reason why I thought this was a good question to ask you, because I want to know how you mentally deal with somebody doing that for something that you've put your heart and soul into. How did you overcome, which I'm sure something that I'm sure felt like shit. You did such a wonderful job. You were talking about amazing things, and you'd obviously put a lot of work and energy into it. How did you find the resilience to deal with it?
So again, perspective, right?
Because
exactly. The first thing was, yes, I initially had a meltdown.
As your human nature, you have to experience all the emotions before you can deal with something. That's just that is the way you deal with it. It's that's expected.
So my coach at the time was James Whittaker, and James Whittaker, people might know his dad is Noel Whittaker. Noel Whittaker is like a financial guru here in Australia. Yeah. And James, he's written books like Think and Grow Rich, The Legacy, Andrew Carnegie's Mental Dynamite. He's incredible human. Has a podcast, funny enough, called Win the Day, which has incredible guests. If you haven't checked it out,
I have heard of it. Yeah.
So James, my one-to-one coach at the time, he was the first port of call, because I thought if anyone's going to know how I should deal with this, it's James.
It's him.
So I contacted him and he said, let me have a look at the video. And he went and watched it, and he said, honestly, I'm not telling you this because you're my client and friend. He said, that was a load of garbage. He said, there were some things in it you could take from it, but he said, I wouldn't bother watching it, because I only listened to like maybe 5 minutes, maybe not even 5 minutes. I was like, it's confronting, when someone's basically saying, I think the one word the one statement that stuck in my mind, he said, this is a word salad.
Yeah.
And I'm imagining, I don't know, but I'm imagining a word salad is jumbled up words. Jumbled up in a bowl. Yeah. I'm pretty sure my talk was not a word salad. But what did I take from it? Well, what I took from it was, number one, do I think I can do better next time? Absolutely. And it inspires me, and it has inspired me. When I do my in-person TED Talk, I'm going to be studied to the max. I'll know my speech like it's something that I've delivered a million times.
I think often reading a teleprompter can make you very stiff, and it takes out the authenticity, and then it just being natural with something. So it can be quite hard to deliver something when you're doing that.
Well, and I think that, and again, I wasn't big on watching a lot of TED Talks, and so the ones I watched, I thought there was a certain pattern of the way that they talk. And so I thought, I'll follow the pattern to seem like I'm doing the TED Talk. Yeah. But actually, that's what I'm not going to do next time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to be more
100%.
like we're doing right now, but I will have rehearsed and I'll have it in my mind.
Yeah.
And whether I use it all or not doesn't really matter because no one knows my speech other than me.
Exactly.
you.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
No, it doesn't matter.
And I think sometimes with opportunities like that, we overthink them so much that we become our own worst enemies.
Yeah.
That something which could actually be perfect or as near perfect as possible becomes an issue for us because we're doing things that aren't actually natural to us. So so whilst the content you could be sharing is fantastic, the way that you're doing it can be off-putting and I think that happens for a lot of people. It's why, you know, performance as an athlete, performance in any kind of high performance job, if you spend your whole time overthinking it, you affect your performance dramatically. That the stress that you put on yourself actually turns everything around and turns it into something you don't want it to be. So it's, as you said, perspective and the ability to take the positives from, you know, something that could be perceived as a negative.
And there's two other parts I'll finish with this, which is number one, James said to me, remember, and you'll like this, remember, you're in the arena. He's not.
Yeah.
How many TED Talks do you think this guy's done?
Yeah, exactly.
I can tell you how many he's done.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Sorry,
zero.
that was a zero.
That was a zero.
Not six. That was zero.
And that's
but it's true.
That's the thing we talk about a lot is that there are so many, for lack of a better term, keyboard warriors out there, and particularly on YouTube, everyone has everyone has an opinion, you know, and they're not necessarily good ones, but you know, everyone has an opinion, and you know, with social media and YouTube, and you know, people are able to, you know, just get out there and, you know, spruik what they think. And a lot of people, if you'll excuse the expression again, but a lot of people don't care if they shit on other people and what they're doing. You know, it's almost like a... That
sounds very smelly.
Yeah, it does. It's almost like they almost wear the ability to do that like a badge of honor. You know, it's it's like what they All right, couple of really quick last questions that we ask all our guests, and
super quick questions.
Super quick
it's
ones.
Supposed to be our quick fire round. It never ends up being that way, but
all right. What is one thing you would do if fear wasn't a factor?
What is one thing I would do if fear wasn't a factor? That's a great question, isn't it? There's so many things. What would I do? One thing. Fear wasn't a factor. I would. Again, the reason I'm stuck is I'm thinking, I would travel the world and go and do these different things. And part of me thinks, but hang on, what about your responsibilities? What's one? I don't know, because the interesting thing is when I think about it, there's not too many things I haven't done that I've feared, because I know that if you're fearing something, it's actually a positive. So
you're actually giving the exact answer that I give to this question. When people ask me if fear wasn't a factor, for me, if I'm scared of something, I go out and do it, because the best things come on the, you know, once you work past your comfort zone, and it's very, very true. So if you're scared of something, just make yourself do it, because generally only ever positive things will come from that. So I love that as an answer.
You know, and on that, my TED Talk, I didn't go out looking to do a TED Talk. It came to me.
Awesome. And
I said to myself, I don't know if I'm ready for it. I went, okay, then you're ready.
Yeah, exactly. Do it. If
absolutely.
If you're doubting it, just fucking do it. Just go for it. What's the worst thing that can happen? Seriously, what's the worst thing that can happen? If it doesn't go right, then you go back, you reanalyze, you analyze, and you reapply those learnings to do it again. So the only thing that can happen is you learn and you grow from it. So it's a positive thing.
Yeah.
All right, go on. Next one.
All right. What is something about you that people might be surprised to know?
I used to be I was going to say competitive. No, I used to do rollerblade demonstrations.
Cool.
I love that. Is it really funny that I've now got visions in my head of you wearing like a fluoro headband and just being like all, that's really cool. I love it. And, and you got your knee pads and your
knee-high socks.
No, I didn't have the knee pads and the elbow pads because I didn't want to look like a dork.
And so you preferred to kill yourself.
Yeah, and
end up disabled like that. has.
I could have, like the amount of bumps
I
and
bet.
grazes.
My mum is very much, she's a roller skater, and she's very much of the opinion that she looks stupid wearing things. So didn't wear arm pads and broke her elbow. And now she's learnt from that experience that you have to wear the protection.
I'm sure I was close.
I never used to. I have a skateboard.
You never used to skate. No, you've never skated. I mean,
I have
your legs have never worked.
I have 3 skateboards now. Thank you.
I know, but you kind of just went. You never used to skate.
What does one person do with 3 skateboards?
God knows.
I have 1 longboard, 1 shortboard, and 1 electric board.
Oh, they are so much fun.
Yeah.
Skateboarding is super
But
fun.
I didn't use elbow pads until I got the electric board. And now I know why, because that thing hoots alongside.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's the second time in 2 weeks that you've used that
I
word, hooting
know.
along.
It hoots along.
All right, carry on.
All right, last one. This is the last one. What does inclusion mean to you?
Inclusion.
Yeah. So we ask all of our guests this question because, obviously we're people with disabilities. We want to know what your stance is on inclusion, what you think about it. There's no right or wrong answer here, by the way.
Oh, I know that. And even if I had an answer that I thought might make you pissed off, I'd still tell you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. That's what we want.
No, so I think you guys know me pretty well,
Yes.
like as in how I feel about inclusion,
Yeah, 100%.
not just with able-bodied or not. It's, trans, it's LGBTQT.
Absolutely.
And hence why we're talking about, the only thing I can think of is me talking about being the gay or straight guy going around.
100%.
Yet there's that's not in my DNA to, want to be exclusive. And so
anybody who knows you knows, sorry to interrupt, but anybody who has met you for 5 minutes is, sorry, I'm going to speak properly in the microphone because I'm sounding funny, but anybody who's met you for 5 minutes knows that about you. But anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt. But
no, you can interrupt anytime.
Yeah.
So Adam, that's right. So the inclusion for me is that everyone gets an opportunity.
Yeah.
And so it's like, give everyone the opportunity. And like even talking today, I actually think diversity is actually a positive.
Oh, 100%.
You actually have something that we don't.
Yeah.
Or able-bodied person might have over someone in a wheelchair because you and I, or the 3 of us, you and I, the 3 of us, I'm treating you like one person.
Most people think that of us, I think.
Pretty much.
we often speak together and do shit together and go, what the fuck?
Here comes the twins.
Yeah, I know, right. Anyway, carry on.
So, so as I was saying, I think, you have an ability to have something different. When I think about anyone or anything that is really successful or, has rave reviews or does things out of the ordinary, it's usually the things that are different and unique and unusual. And so that's why I love that you guys teach, a lot of the work that you do, because you're not just out there racing wheelchairs and training people to race wheelchairs. You're actually doing things to help people understand inclusion, but also understand actually this is how you can upgrade your life.
Yeah,
they can improve how you feel, happiness, joy, success, whatever that might be.
Yeah, well, we've discovered it in our lives, and we just want other people to have those same opportunities, regardless of what background they come from, or who they are, or what their abilities are, or their gender or anything. So we also are all about diversity, not just for people with disabilities, but just everybody. Everyone deserves a seat at the table. So and their voice to be heard. Anyway, that's
excellent.
I know.
Mr. Brett D. Scott, thank you very much.
Thank you. So we have the superchargedfreedom.com link up there on the live now, and we'll make sure that goes up on the podcast when it's released. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, here's something extra.
Oh,
please.
Go, do it.
Here's something extra. So anyone that gets to the end of this recording like we're doing now, or video, depending on what format they're using.
Yeah.
The first person, actually I'm going to say the first 3 people that reach out to you and say, I loved listening to that guy, whatever his name was, Scott Brett D.
Scott Brett.
I'll mail him out a copy of my book.
Oh, love it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Guys, this is a wonderful offer from Brett here. We've read his book. It's fantastic.
It is awesome.
It will teach you so much. And so make sure you jump on and do that, because you're lucky people here.
Hey, and
Lucky
it's a
people.
test because that's why I left it to the end. Because I
Yeah.
thought,
I
let's
like
see who gets to the end of the
Yeah.
recording.
Let's see just who sticks around.
You're all going to get to the end, right?
Exactly.
So you know this needs to stay on for the rest of the show too, right? Okay. Okay. Hey, thank you so much for coming in and driving
Cool.
all the way down from the Sunshine Coast to come
Very,
and join
very
us
much
today.
appreciated.
We very much appreciate it. And we will be seeing you again soon.
will.
Well, that was a bloody great interview, wasn't
That
it?
was so cool. And I just, you two were just, so I'm just sitting back going, yeah, this is awesome.
I really enjoyed drinking to Brett. Cheers, buddy. I really
Oh my
enjoy
God.
talking to Brett. He's a great
He's
guy.
such a good guy.
Yeah.
He's so knowledgeable and
He is.
he's so giving with his thoughts and
Absolutely.
and his knowledge.
He's a very knowledgeable guy, and
He's such
yes.
an unassuming guy too.
mhm.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we that interview ended up stretching far longer than we'd expected, which isn't a bad thing because it was full of information. So we've decided to do the rest of the show a little bit differently today. We're not going to be doing all our usual segments. We'll keep those till the next episode in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But we are going to have a little chat about a couple of things from the last. This is doing the show on the fly.
I know, right? Well,
We're astute professionals here.
we are. Well, that because we had so much great stuff to talk about with Brett.
We just kept it going.
Yeah, and we love doing this, but we don't want to make you guys sit here for 2 hours and listen to us dribble on either.
Exactly
So
right.
we're gonna cut this one a little bit short and talk about a couple of things we do.
It's not going to end up being short because the interview was so long, but we are going to sort of cut out a few of the segments. But as we were saying at the start of the show, we both did Brisbane Marathon on the weekend.
Yeah.
How's your body feeling?
I'm feeling really good. I was a bit sore. I was a little bit sore on Monday, which was the day after. But aside from that, I'm feeling like I've done a couple of.
Can we just point out that you did 10Ks in your day chair?
I did 10Ks
at the
in
Marathon
this chair.
Festival. Yeah.
So in Brisbane and around the Botanic Gardens area, Ivory Street and
up to the Story Bridge.
Over the Story Bridge, back around.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know Brisbane is one hell of a hilly city.
Yes.
They're really the marathon course, the entire marathon circuit. So I did the full 42K.
Let's put a city like Brisbane on a hill. That's a great idea.
I did the full 42K, and there's about 2 kilometers of flat the entire course. It is just hill after hill after hill after incline.
The bridge is about
gradient.
the flattest part of it.
I know. after gradient, after hairpin turn, after it's a great marathon to be part of. The support on course is amazing. Atlas events that run Brisbane. You've got your hat on today. That run the Brisbane Marathon are fantastic, and it's a very inclusive event for anyone interested in doing it. But just be aware, it is a challenge and a half.
Yeah, it is. How did you pull up after it?
Funnily enough, really good.
Yeah.
You
did 42.
I did 42. I didn't have any DOMs. I didn't feel sore. I was a little bit stiff, I know, but I'm surprised, to be honest. I was expecting to be dying.
Yeah.
But what I will say was about 20 kilometers into the course, so just as we've come up to the end of the first loop, because it's a 2-loop course.
Yeah.
I physically, mentally, I was done. I was like, I need out of this. I don't want to do the second lap. I don't think I've got it in me. I was in extraordinary pain just because in a racing wheelchair, you're bent forwards for 2 to 3 hours, whatever. And the extra pressure on the hills on my lower back was just, I mean, I had tears rolling down my face. I was in that much pain. And the compression of your hips, because racing wheelchairs, they are millimeter tight.
Yeah.
So if you put on half a kilo, you kind of, it makes
you know
that
about it.
Yeah. And I've probably put on like 1 kilo or 2 of weight over the sprint season. And, because there's less endurance, less calories every day. I barely eat anything. I can't change my diet because I don't eat enough as it is. But yeah, so I was in extraordinary pain, and I have zero idea how I actually got myself through that second loop.
But you did.
I did.
But you did it.
I just made myself do it. I just don't know how, but there you go. I think the frustration for me as well, getting up the hills, they're very, very steep. And when you're in a wheelchair, you give yourself resting time, going downhill, just letting go and picking up speed. It's fantastic. But of course, that course was so full of runners, especially once the 10K runners joined the course, that there just wasn't anywhere to get up any speed. Actually, I reckon that leads us into our Moron of the Day segment.
Yes, it does. Shall I hit the button?
Do it.
I'm going to hit the button.
Do it.
I'm going to dance.
It's the Moron of the Day.
Yes.
I think the Moron of the Day should be you because you just knocked yourself out on the microphone.
Didn't knock myself out.
No, I know. So anyway, what I was saying obviously was it was really, really difficult to get downhill because what was actually happening was all the runners, the able-bodied people, were just oblivious. Absolutely.
Not all of them.
A lot of them.
A lot of
them were completely oblivious to wheelchairs or anyone being on course. So we had lead cyclists. Both you and I had a cyclist going out in front of us to move runners out of the way to make sure, to safety on course, make sure nobody gets hurt, which is absolutely fantastic. My cyclist had a siren, the loudest thing you could possibly hear, and yet still people wouldn't move out of the way. And racing wheelchair, you're going pretty damn fast down those down
40
hills,
odd Ks, 40, 50 Ks an hour down a hill.
Especially if you've got a long, steep hill. And you just don't have the same control.
There's no ability to stop in a hurry.
There's no ability to stop in a hurry, and it's they're very difficult to steer. It's very hard to move yourself out of the way of out of an obstacle. So I have a lead cyclist 10 meters in front of me. You had one in front of you, shouting at people, getting sirens going, so people were aware. But these fuckers just weren't moving. Now, it's not so much me I'm worried about, or you. I don't care about you. No, I'm joking.
Hey,
I mean, your legs are already missing. What difference is it going to make? But they're going to get seriously hurt if a fast-moving vehicle runs into those legs.
Well, I think what we need to specify is that the ones we're talking, the runners we're specifically speaking of are the ones that had
earphones,
tunes in their ears, because I don't know that we specified.
No, I was just getting to that bit, but you jumped in before I had the chance.
I was just.
Fuck me.
Yeah, well.
No, so anyway, what happens when you're out on a marathon course is a lot of the runners, a huge number of runners, wear earphones with the tunes pumping really, really loud, which is cool, and I understand that when you're out running loud. The problem is you have no idea of no awareness of what's going on around you, and I'm not talking about just from the chance that there could be wheelchairs around. There's lead cyclists around for the elite runners at the front. There's also often mothers with prams or fathers with prams, people pushing people with disabilities in their wheelchairs. There are many obstacles, which mean that you really need to have an awareness of what's going on around you. Not have just wear one earphone, maybe not two, but you have no clue. Like I said, my lead cyclists had a freaking siren, and yet there were people that were totally oblivious to my existence his existence. It's just it's crazy, and it's dangerous. It's dangerous for our safety, but even more so for the runners' safety.
Well, long distance runners, they'll often tell you they'll get into a zone, and they're it's a focus, and they're it's almost like a trance, I guess. A lot of people, so they're oblivious. They're sort of focused, and they're not all that aware of what's going on around them anyway. So throw some headphones on top of that. And and like, see, I'd actually thought that it might be discouraged. I actually thought that a lot of races banned people from having them. But
basically,
I don't know how well that works for them.
Basically, no, it doesn't. They aren't banned. They're discouraged, and I think that's where the issue is. I'm not sure that it should be allowed.
No,
I get wanting to listen to music, especially if you're a person that takes 5-6 hours to do a marathon. That having that music there, it keeps you going. It keeps 100%. You motivated. It keeps you boosted on a long day. But at what point does personal safety of everyone, you know, of every single person out on that course need to be taken into account. Because if there's some kind of emergency services around, some kind of accidents happen, you're not going to be aware of that because you can't hear what's going on around you.
We had a couple of instances where I was hurtling down a hill in this chair in the race, and my lead cyclist that I had, who was awesome by the way, was yelling at people to pull to the right or pull to the left or whatever, and they were ignoring. So he was literally riding his bike to the side of them, having to tap them on the shoulder to make them aware of what was going on.
Yeah, or people would move out of the way for the cyclist and then move directly back where they were, so that by the time you got there, they were in your way as well. That happened to me. But it's just guys, if you're a runner and you're going to be out on course wearing earphones, maybe have the music far quieter, or just wear one earphone, because you're going to make it much safer for everybody if you do that. And at the end of the day, especially me in a racing chair going at really high speeds, I don't want to be responsible for hurting someone, for injuring them, for taking out their legs from underneath them when they're trying to run a marathon. Yeah.
And it's a unique situation in that, I guess, as well, in that there was a hill about a K into the start of this one. Well, there was for me, and I think there
straight away.
It was the same for you as well. So we're fortunate we were given a 3-minute start before the runners, but when you're facing a hill 1K into it, they catch you.
Yeah. So we had runners with us the entire. Well, so I'm often ahead of the runners, but it's in this case because the hill was so close to the start and the hills are so steep and slow going, and that was the steepest hill on the course. Right at the start.
Oh yes,
it meant I was in with the runners straight away. So it becomes problematic. But guys, just maybe think about that when you're out on course. But
that's going to lead us into
this leads us into our next one. I mean, we've done this well today.
We have. Sorry.
The kindness virus.
The kindness virus.
Good job.
Thanks.
I don't think you've got your English accent down pat there with the high pitched female voice.
No, there is way too much sunshine and rainbow shit going on.
Oh, but I'm a sunshine and rainbows kind of zombie.
Kind of. Yes. You were a zombie.
Actually, we were zombies, weren't we? Have we spoken about this on the show?
I don't know. Maybe.
I think maybe we did. But if we didn't, we're going to be posting. Oh yeah, we did. We spoke about it on last week's
because we'll
show.
post them. Yeah, I will. I know it, and I know I said I'd post some photos. I will.
Yeah, we're going to use it in the advertising.
That'd be cool to put into this.
Yeah,
because it's all zombies and.
Yes. Anyway.
Cool.
Anyway, so I digress. We digress. That's what we do. So. We want to do this, dedicate this kindness virus to the lead cyclists out on course for Brisbane Marathon. In fact, lead cyclists everywhere. You guys are freaking awesome. You keep us safe.
Yes.
You keep the runners on course out on course safe. But you also keep people on track. So when you're out at the front of the pack and there's no one else around you, those lead cyclists are the people that keep you going where you need to go, because it's not always all that clear what direction you need to be taking.
No.
And I read about someone the other day that missed out on a gold medal because they had gone a kilometre out of the way and had to come a kilometre back because they hadn't realised that they'd gone off track.
Look, it as an athlete, it very much pays to know the course and have some idea, but they are great at just
and it does pay to know the course, but certainly as a wheelchair racer, your head's down a lot of the time, so you don't always know exactly where you are.
I know my lead rider, who was brilliant, as I said, was he was directing. He was saying, "Okay, up here, you're going to turn a right. You've got a sharp left here. Come down around this corner. You're going to take a hard right.
So I reckon you probably had Chris before he came over to me.
Yeah.
So he's actually experienced at guiding me. He's
excellent.
He's been my lead cyclist. This will be his second occasion because he came over to join me afterwards. But I had instructed him on how to do that stuff previously because obviously as a visually impaired person, I really, really struggle with a lot marathons, and it can be quite dangerous for me. But also having that ability to know exactly where you're going and what those hazards are can make all the difference to your safety and other people's safety on the course. Now, we got to point out that these elite cyclists, they're volunteers. They volunteer their time to go and push cycle 42 kilometers with you, and then also often go back for other people out on course too that aren't leads.
Some of those guys might be doing 50 odd Ks at least.
Yeah, and they're awesome, and they keep you company and they keep you safe. And I'm sorry, I know that's a real random laugh. One of my cyclists, I'm not sure which one it was. I think Chris maybe. He I was just coming into the home straight, so I was probably a K&a-half away from the finish line, and he, at the top of Ivory Street, he decided to, which is a very, very, very steep hill, decided to stop and let them know that I was just coming into the finish line. And he's stopped to make this phone call, and as he has toppled over, arse over tit. Whilst I shouldn't laugh because he could have gotten hurt.
Was he okay though?
He was okay. Let me
good.
point out here. I wouldn't be laughing about it now if he wasn't.
I hope not.
But maybe I would. I'm a bitch like that. But he just toppled. Like, he had his feet in his cleats, so wasn't. So didn't have.
No.
I must have forgotten to take them out or something. I don't know what happened, but he just fell to the side, and it was just like a sack of shit falling over, and it was the funniest thing.
You can't say that.
But it was hilarious.
I
don't know how else to explain it. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. So I was partially horrified and mortified that had happened. I'm like, I'm okay, dude. Are you okay, dude? But in the same vein, I was pissing myself laughing because it was so funny.
I don't consider myself a claustrophobic person, but in a weird way, I think having feet, and not that I've got any feet either, but I would imagine having your feet on the pedals and not being able to get them off as needed. I mean, you can with cleats, but you've got to do it the right way.
Yes.
That would give me
that. I do not.
Would that give you the heebie-jeebies?
Yes. Like, even thinking about it now, I'm like, I can't do it. Not that I could do it now anyway, but yes.
So lead cyclists, you guys and support cyclists, and you guys are the unsung heroes of those races. And I'm scratching my arm, and it's really irritating you, isn't it? It is,
because all I can see in my eye line is your finger going, will you stop? Anyway.
But you guys really are the unsung heroes of these events, and you probably aren't told enough, but are very, very much appreciated, and a huge part of what makes these events a success for us, and is enjoyable. Absolutely. and
possibly stop us from living, stop us from dying.
Stop us from living. I don't know about that one. Yeah.
Anyway, well, that's it. That's today's show. We have gone over by one hell of a lot today.
But wasn't it worth it?
But it was worth it. So that's why we're trying to just get through this last bit, because we've probably gone over by about half an hour.
Yeah, about that.
Anyway.
But that's all good. Cool.
It was awesome to speak to you all again.
If you like what you heard and you want to follow us, jump on social media, on Instagram, on Facebook. You can find us at...
on Facebook, we are Two Cripples, One Pair of Legs podcast. On Instagram, we are twocrips.onepairoflegs.
I always throw that to you, and you always like...
no, it's because you say both of them at the same time, and I like you go, cool. Instagram and Facebook, and I'm like, hang on, which one do I say first?
So jump on, give us a like, give us a follow. If you are wanting to connect with Mr. Brett D. Scott, we will put some details in.
Superchargedfreedom.com.
Yes. And connect with him. Amazing guy. And
for those guys that are there now, don't forget his offer. If you want a copy of his book, which is amazing, don't forget to let us know that you watched to the end and what you enjoyed about the show. 3 people, 3 books on offer here. Next week... we have on the live will be Julie Lindsay, who is a wonderful woman that's undergone cancer treatment and some huge surgeries, and is also a bodybuilder. And she's incredible. But if you're watching on YouTube or listening to the audio, our next show will actually be with Rachel Condos-Field from the Wattle Nest, and she's running an athlete empowerment program that's just incredible.
Yes.
So for both episodes, make sure you listen, whether you're listening live or listening to the recorded, edited versions. I hope you enjoy, and we will see you next time.
Peace.
Bye.
Well, that's a wrap for this week's episode of Two Cripples, One Pair of Legs. As always, we'd like to thank our studio guests for joining us, and of course to the legends at Podfire for making all of this come to life. If you like what you've heard, or even if we've offended the shit out of you, but you still want to hear more, make sure you hit the subscribe button and also check out our Insta page, twocrips.onepairoflegs, and you'll be the first to know when a new episode drops.